going to get started. So those who I haven't had a chance to meet yet, my name is Josh. I'm the assistant cam here. I'll help Sherry out. And tonight we're going to go over the proposed changes to the CC&Rs, or the declaration or covenants. They all mean the same thing. So how this started was the document committee was asked to review the existing documents and provide any recommended upgrades or updates and any changes they thought were necessary. In the July meeting, they offered up a suggestion that it would be easier to get some of the recommended changes, such as trails, lease limitations. They suggested that if you lower the voting requirement from the 2/3 to 50% one, it might be easier to get those passed. So what that means is any changes to your declaration, you have to have 2/3 approval from the owners. So 667 votes. Florida Statute 720 allows you to make a change to that, but it requires the 667 votes to approve it. So once that's approved, then you'll basically, any future change to that document, you'll only need 501 votes for the change. So the main reason they had, the main reason that they recommended the change was that past voting history, you can see on that slide, it's really hard to get 667 votes, period. But to get 667 yes votes, it just hasn't been done in the history of the community. The closest that has happened was the new building in 2008. There was 702 votes, and only 459 of those were yes. So even if this change does get approved, getting the 501 yes votes for any future changes is still going to be extremely difficult. One of the questions that had been asked in last meeting and that Sherry and I had received was, why not just put all the changes up for a vote now? This one, the trails, the leases, all those other recommended changes. And the main reason is that each one of those would require 667 votes. If we just do this one vote, get it down to 501, those will be easier to change. On the back of the flyer that I handed out to everybody, there's the old language or the current language, I should say. It's not old yet. And then there's the recommended, or what the attorney has put together for the changes for the 501 votes, or 50% plus one. So if this doesn't happen to pass, the changes that are still proposed would probably go out to a vote, but like I said, it would just take more votes to actually get those passed. And then I'm gonna turn it over to you guys if you have any.
I just wanted to touch on a couple things before we turn it over to the board. Some of the questions that we have had come to us is with regards to spending. A lot of residents are confused in the fact that they think that this has to do with spending. It does not have anything to do with anything other than making changes to your CC&Rs. So currently you have to have 667 votes to make changes to your CC&Rs. Changing it to a 50% plus one would just mean that you would have a less requirement to change your documents in the future. Doesn't allow the board to spend more money, doesn't allow the board to do anything outside of change the documents with a community vote. The board can only spend $50,000 without approval from the community. Anything over that has to go out to the community for a vote, and that would be 50% of the majority plus one. So if you had 500 people, you would have to have 251, right? Yes. Okay?
Well, I'd like to thank you for coming out tonight. This is very important. Hopefully we have a lot of folks tuned in on Channel 17 to watch us. Joshua did a great job explaining it, but here's the obligation that you have. You need to participate in this vote, whether it's yes or no. Hopefully it's yes. Reason being, it's your responsibility. If you have any questions about this, we are more than glad to talk to you about it directly. You can see the management team, or you can call a board member, meet with a board member, and discuss it in detail with them. Another opportunity that you have before you, you have neighbors that are snowbirds. We're sending them the information, the communications. They're going to get their ballot, the tie vote ballot and so forth. But I think they would feel comfortable, more comfortable, if they had any questions, they could ask you, because you can ask us at that time. So I know the board members, the other board members, did an excellent job on Tuesday night, just presenting how they feel about this vote. This is something that we can look back on and say we did the right thing for this community. That's how we have to look at this. We're not looking to spend any additional money as a board. We can't. The limitations are still going to be in place as we move forward if this vote is successful. We just want this community to stand up and provide what is needed to continue the success as far as the residents enjoying it, and also at the same time knowing that everybody cares about this community. So with that, let's have some statements from the other board members, and then we'll open it up to questions. Frank?
At the risk of sounding redundant, I want to make one thing clear, because there seems to be a lot of confusion on this. This vote is about one thing and one thing only. It's lowering the bar to be able to change the CCNRs. This is not about rentals. This is not about the trails. This is not about space planning or building. Those things are all going to be dealt with, and everybody will have their say when the time comes. This is only about lowering the bar so we could more easily change the CCRs. That being said, two things that come to the surface about the CCRs is one topic that people are concerned about, and that is the rentals. Whether you're for renting houses here in Legacy or not, or whether you just want to keep corporations away but you still want individuals to be able to rent, that's all fine. And that's going to be hashed out. This vote has nothing to do with how that's done. That's going to be decided later. The other thing that right now we're prevented from doing is changing or upgrading the trails in the wetlands. Everybody knows this. What is preventing us to do that? One sentence in our CCRs that says that we can't. We put the handcuffs on ourselves years ago, and now we can't easily do that. So all this is doing is lowering. So I moved here 5 years ago roughly, and ever since then I've heard people say, I wish they'd do something. Nobody does anything here. They don't do anything. They didn't build a building. They didn't do any renovation. They're not spending any money. Do something before I die, even if it's wrong. I've had people tell us that. So my fear is this. If we don't make it easier to improve what we have, and this came up the other day, it's not adding amenities. It's not making ourselves the Villages or any other community. It's just, we want to make it easier to maintain what we have, because Legacy is like 20 years old almost. It's getting shop worn. I could show you all over here where we need to improve, fix, spiffy up Legacy. We're looking shop worn, and we're competing against other communities that do not look shop worn because they take care of what they have. And we want to do that, because my biggest fear is that I've invested, I've chosen to live here, just like you guys have. I'm afraid that as we age, the community, not us, people are going to say that, you know, Legacy used to be really nice, but you know, they never put money back into it. They never fixed things. They never upkept things. And now it looks kind of shop-worn and like yesterday's news. And then our property values will go down. And I don't think we want that. So that's about all I have to say for now. Thank you. Yeah.
Hi, everybody at home. Sorry you're not down here with us 24 folks. Yeah, golly, is there 24? Anyway, yeah, it's just the crowd is almost too much. The doors are bulging back there. This is something that everybody should be down here. The place should have been packed on Tuesday. It should be packed tonight. I hope you're all watching at home, so I'll talk to you too. You know, I've heard a lot of things about our board of directors, and we move at lightning glacial speed. And the one thing that I can say, because I've been here for 14 years, and Frank, actually, we're 23 years old now. In October will be 23 years. Our boards have been extremely, no matter which board, extremely physically conservative. They have not wanted to spend money. They've not wanted to raise our monthly dues. Why? Because they live here too. We all live here. We're not somewhere else. So we want to do, and it's like Frank said, we want to do what's best for Legacy. We're 23 years old. So our athletic fields look pretty good. At one time, our trails look pretty good. They're looking not so good. We could use some upgrade on the front of our place too, so that we don't look, like he said, shop worn. Why do people want to come here and buy your home when I go across the street to Arlington Ridge? Hey, the lady look pretty nice. Yeah, they got a golf course there too. A lot of problems with a golf course, and of course, when you got to support a restaurant on board also. So that's why people come here. People also, well, gosh, we don't want our monthly dues to go up. Well, then this has, it's like you said, this has nothing to do with monthly dues, but you know, let me talk about that just for a moment. We pay $235 a month. Arlington Ridge, for the very same thing that we get, they pay $300 a month. And I've got a friend who lives over in Highland Lakes. She pays $385 to get the same service we get. No, they don't cut her grass. No, she doesn't have a basic cable and internet included, so she has to pay for that individually. So she pays $385 a month that we pay for $235. And once again, Arlington Ridge, I tune and repair pianos. So I travel to some of these other places. And I had a client over there, and he told me, he said, yeah, he says, we pay $300 a month for getting our yard cut, for basic cable and internet, and to take care of all the common areas. That's $65 more a month than we pay. So that's a good thing. We want to keep it like that, that we've got a good thing, and that's one of the things that we're going to have to, or trying to do, just to make it easier. It's not going to be a slam dunk to get 501 positive votes, trust me. It's not going to get a slam dunk. And just so you understand, you know, talking about the different boards, our last board is the one who appointed these people to this document ad hoc committee. Some very smart, intelligent residents, and they've looked through all our documents to see what actually needs to be updated. So I see at least 2 members back there. Thank you very much for doing all that work, months of work, I should say. And thank you to the last board for appointing them. So people are worried, like Frank said, well, I want to rent my house. 14 years ago, when my wife and I moved here, we were in a downturn. There was a lot of houses for sale and not getting sold. There were a lot of houses empty, and there was a lot of houses that were being rented out. There's nothing wrong with that long-term renting. We just don't want to see, because that's going to be one of the documents that we want to change coming up. We don't want to see where different companies come in and buy up a bunch of homes Because when they're not here, when anything comes up to vote, do you think those companies are gonna vote yes for anything? They don't wanna spend money. All they wanna do is make money. I had a friend who lived in Ocoee, who lived in Ocoee, he lives now down south. He could rent his house out for $5,000 a month. Actually, it was $6,000 a month. He only got $5,000. The manager got $1,000. And he was living on his houseboat up at St. John's River in Astor, and running out his house at $6,000 a month. And people would pay that. People would pay that because it's a lot cheaper, it's a lot nicer to move into a home with 2 or 3 bedrooms, 2 or 3 baths. And hey, we can make food here and whatever, then we can go to Disney or we can go wherever we want to go. We don't want to see that happen here. A lot of other communities around us have already taken care of that. In 2019, Highland Lakes already took care of that. They changed their covenants so that people can't come in, these companies come in and buy up a lot of homes and use them for rentals. That's the last thing we want to have happen. So, I've talked enough. Oh, if you're looking for me, it's Chris DeBow, Director 6, and I live over on the end of Stony Brook. Stop by sometime. Ed, do you want to say anything? Oh, I'm sorry, too.
Yeah, they're chuckling because they asked me, do I want to say anything? That's right, I've been away 2 weeks. I just returned. And I'm not going to repeat what you heard. Here's what I want to talk about. I don't think I need to speak to you here in this room, and I don't think I need to speak to the other residents who are watching on Channel 17. Who needs to hear this message and how important this vote is the 300 to 500 homes who traditionally are not plugged in. You all know that there's how many of our resident homes, I don't want to talk about residents, homes, because residents were near 2,000, homes were near 1,000. How many, we all know it, are plugged in, know what's going on, care about what's going on? Is it more than 500 of us? It's not. But that's the people, they're the homeowners we need to reach. Because they don't know, they don't care. And by the way, that's not negative. It's okay for a resident to buy a house here and not want to be involved in our government. That's okay. There's nothing negative about that. They're not doing something wrong because they just want to live here, enjoy living here, enjoy the amenities, go about their business, and some of them are just still working. They're not retired. The one thing I will repeat is, we need to get 667 people to vote. The only way we're going to get 667 plus to vote we need to reach the folks that are generally not plugged in. Frankly, I haven't been participating in discussions over the last 2 or 3 weeks to find out how we're reaching those people, how we're reaching the snowbirds. I don't know, to be honest with you. Again, I'm just now catching up. But the other thing that I will reiterate, the only thing we're voting on is how many residents, how many homeowners need to say yes to make a change to covenants, not to change other things. That's the other thing I'm not sure is clear. You've heard the others talk about. There's other things that we vote on. We don't need that many votes. Don't need that many yes votes. when we voted, remember, some of you remember the time we had a proposal to build a pavilion at the pool. Remember that? Those of you who were here remember that. We didn't need 667 yes votes. We just needed a majority of the folks voting. Other things. The best example is the new building proposal, the new activities building, that proposal. That was the only time in our history, and a lot of you know that I came here just before the first board, 06. So some of you, like I, have lived through it. That was the only time we got. In fact, I think we published it, that we 702 votes, if I remember right. Never did we get that many votes. And how do we get that many votes? We got that many votes by reaching every resident. Making sure that every resident was educated. Now, the proposal, actually the proposal carried. But again, we didn't need 667 votes. So again, don't get confused. This is only to change a covenant. So if you approve the change, ladies and gentlemen, if you approve the change, that means any covenant issue that we come up with, we will need 500, 50% plus one, what was that, 501? And that might be hard to do. And it seems to me that the largest, based on my discussions, based on the feedback I've received, seems to me the largest legacy amenity issue that most of us have been concerned about is improving our trails, and our trails, some of which can only be improved if we do some kind of bridges, if I should call it that, some kind of construction over water to permit it to happen. If we don't get 667 people to say, yes, let's lower that threshold to 50%, we're not going to be able to do that. We're not going to achieve that goal of improving our trails. Thanks for your attention.
My name, in case you don't know, is Nancy Schley. It looks like Schley, but it isn't. We still pronounce it the old German way, Schley. Anyway, these guys have pretty much taken any thunder that I had. The one thing I wanted to let you know is that we have, last couple of years, we've had boards now, 2 boards, that are really anxious to get going on some of these projects. They need you. You can't do anything around anywhere until you get involved, you get your friends involved. Anyway, we need to make sure that all of you become aware of what's going on. What do we mean by what's the difference between 667 votes versus 501? That means positive votes. And so this is what we really do need. That's why we're coming back to you and saying, can we have that? Can we put that threshold there and work from there? Because all of you want to see something get done, including those of you at home. Want to get something done, you want to have a board that can get something done, but you have to put forth an effort on your part as well. We all look forward to working with you, and we all want to see it done. Okay?
Yeah, I don't know if last time Sherry showed the slides, there were like 5 slides and it really brought things. Are you gonna show the rest of the slides or, I don't know? Okay, because you explained it so well at the last meeting. So I just wanted to say quick that to me it seems goofy that you could build like a $2 million building here and have like a low amount of votes to pass that, you know. It was about 462 for that last building. But to build a little bridge over a puddle on a pond, we need 667 votes. It just seems kind of goofy to me. Now, in fairness, I know there are some people that don't like change, and they don't like lowering the bar because they're afraid that perhaps some nefarious group might be more easily being able to take over Legacy. My thinking is I don't think Legacy should be run by fear, but it should be run with an eye for the future and be progressive and not worry about what could statistically be practically impossible to happen. Let's get some things done around here. Our trails are our forte. We should be so proud of those, and I'll tell you, give you a preview of coming attractions. The Trail Committee has worked so amazingly on their plans, and you'll see that presentation before too long. My fear is that if we don't ever do any of these things, all these great volunteers that are giving hours and hours of their time to make Legacy better just to see nothing happen, that's gonna stop. And then we're really in a bad place, so.
All right, let's get to some questions. Start back here.
Okay. My name's Dave Englander. I live here for 16 years, moved in 2006. I just wanted to make a statement in support and maybe clarify a little bit. Right now, you need 667 yes votes in order to make a change to the covenant. As you can see, they had 702 votes at best with 459 yes. So it's like impossible or near impossible. You'll never get anything done with a requirement of 667 votes because over the life of Legacy, we haven't come anywhere near that. And even at best, with an all-out effort, we got 459 votes. All that's being proposed is to say, just like most other elections, do it by a majority. And it's a majority of the homeowners. So by making it 501, 50% plus 1, you still got a challenge because only once in the 23 years you got 459 yes votes. They're not looking like to make it a giveaway. It's still a challenge and very difficult to do. But to leave it the way it is now, as you've been hearing, nothing will ever get done because you're nowhere close. It'll never happen getting 6. And I know from experience, some of you remember my time on the board when I proposed changes. So I'm talking from the school of hard knocks, all right? It's never going to happen if you want any change. And again, they're not talking about authorizing them to be able to spend more money. That still has to go before a vote on any individual proposal that they want, all right? This is just to be able to make changes so that we could get things done in the community. It will not happen if you don't support this. We got to reach out to the other several hundred homes that really don't get involved, aren't informed because, they're just happy that some other people are running things, and as long as nothing's happening, they're happy. But we have to get their support as well. Again, at best, you only have 459 votes, and that's still not real close to 501. So it's not a giveaway. Please support this so we can do things for ourselves in this community. Thank you.
My name is Bill Leach. I live on Aurora Drive. I want to start off by saying, Chris, I'm sorry I wasn't here Tuesday. You complained about that. I was watching on Channel 17 because I thought it was a no-brainer. We gotta vote for this, so why bother coming? That said, the covenants are a legal document. It's with the state. So any changes to this are not easy. The only time it was ever easy was when Pringle was still here. In 2009, we offered our committee, 2009, please. We offered some suggestions to change the covenants, and they did, because they could change it at will. And they made a few. They didn't make all of our recommendations from our committee, but they did make some changes. Obviously, the proposed changes are necessary, and it's not going to be easy. As everyone said, 501 votes is not going to be, and 667 is almost impossible. And as everyone said, this has nothing to do with the way we spend money. That's always just the majority of the votes that are submitted. I do have one suggestion. I can't have any soliciting, but I really would like to see some sort of committee go out for the people that don't want to submit things, go out and not tell them which way to vote, but just give them the information and vote. So, thank you.
It's not prohibited soliciting.
Anybody have any other questions?
I do have a question. Dave, Bill, would you take some time? We have this looped on our channel 17 for the residents as far as the town hall meetings are concerned, both of them. Would you and Dave take the time to deliver a message to the residents, what you just said now?
In other words, we want to record you so we can put you out there.
Yes.
Okay. All right, anybody else? We'll actually see how we can handle this and how we're going to manage through this. I think it's important because, Dave, you've been here how long?
For 16 years, and I was on the board for 2 of them, and I did finances for 5 years. So I have a
And
little.
Bill, you've been here since 2009.
4.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so you know a majority of the residents in this community.
Not anymore.
Well, you're going to get to know them because we're going to make you famous. But yeah, I'll have Josh give you a call, contact you, and see if we can set something up, okay? Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah, just so if you don't know, Bill Leach wrote our very first rules and regulations and updated them a couple of times. And like I said, Dave was on the board for a couple of years in finance. One other thing I'd like to do before we do close, and thank you very much, thank you to TNT. We appreciate both Tuesday and tonight. And one of the complaints I heard about after Tuesday afternoon was, gosh, we didn't know who was talking out here in the crowd. So thank you very much for turning around so they could see, and oh, it's that person or that person. And thank you to the management company for setting everything up. We didn't say that the other day, and we should say that tonight. And I don't mean to take any thunder from you, but
No, it's well said. Thank you.
and yeah, to all the people at home, you darn betcha we hope we vote yes, because we want to get some things done. So, like I said, the previous board is the one who appointed this document ad hoc. They worked hard for several months, a lot of meetings. Those of you who've done the same thing understand exactly what it takes to make this community just a little bit better. Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. So just to give some additional information to maybe the people that are at home, people that are out of town, you guys can also mention this to them. Did anybody today that's here get an email from Josh with a YouTube link to it? No. Okay. So we did send out Josh did send out an email earlier today. He'll send it out again tomorrow with this additional meeting on it to residents. It'll go through an email and it'll have a link to the video for people that may not be here. They can watch it through that email. This is also being looped on channel 17. It'll just repeatedly play for anybody that would like to watch it there at home. If you miss some information or something, you can check it out there. And then we're also going to add, I guess we're going to add Bill and
Can Snowbirds do that?
Dave, yes, thank you.
Did you say that link to be able to,
Yes, anybody that is, so it's in, you'll get, as long as you're signed up on Legacy Neighbors,
they'll
You will
that
get the email.
blast you call them?
correct.
Good.
And then it'll have a link in there to that. If you are concerned that you are not signed up for electronic voting, we can check your email. If you got the vote in January for the annual meeting, then you're signed up. So you don't need to worry about it. But if you are questioning it, you can come see me if anything's maybe changed and we just don't have the updated information, we can put it in here. Oh, that's what, I knew I was leaving something out. The vote will go out probably either late tonight, because they're in California, so they're 3 hours behind us. I already approved all the information, or it will go out tomorrow. But you should get it within the next 24 hours is when you can start to vote on this. The date for the meeting to give the results of the voting is September 23rd at 9 a.m. here in the social hall. Yes, Mickey?
How long does the vote stay open?
So from the 19th tomorrow, so when it goes out tomorrow, till September 23rd.
The 20th, okay.
Miriam?
You said Josh sent out a email
Yeah,
today?
if you didn't get it, he will send it back out tomorrow.
Yeah, for whatever reason, it might not have gone through. It goes through the website. I know some people got it, but maybe it didn't get to everybody. So I will resend it. And that's a replay of Tuesday's event. Tomorrow, I'll edit the video from this, and I'll have both of them online so they can be viewed from anywhere. So people up north can watch them. And then we'll put them on Channel 17, and they'll both play. And it'll just be on repeat until we're done with the voting.
I mean, I know I'm on because I've gotten the votes and everything, but, you know, per voting, so that's why I was weird. It's
Yeah.
not here.
Do you, Bill, did you have another question? Okay.
Could you just tell me
Don't.
how does Legacy reach people who don't have computers or don't use them?
Okay, so she asked for people that, because she doesn't have a microphone, how do residents that are not signed up for electronic voting, how do we get that to them? They will get it in like the old school way, they'll get it in the US mail. They'll get the information plus a ballot and a proxy.
Is there any, is it helpful, let's say that, if some of us delivered them?
That is not possible. Florida law, it has to be mailed or via email, or it has to be in the US mail.
Isn't it fairly likely that a lot of the people who don't participate in the voting ever, these 300 that you talked about, Chris, isn't it possible that it's that group? Is there any other way to reach them? Any other way to do a second something?
So what we're doing is, so if you look, the good thing about last year is that we repeatedly sent emails to residents. So when we did the annual meeting, we actually got 613 people to participate. That's a large number out of all the other years that you've had. We had 613 people participate in the annual meeting vote. So what we'll do is we'll just repeatedly send out reminders, send out the information. You can nudge your neighbors. You know, definitely not, solicited like we said, but you can nudge your neighbors. You can contact people that you know are north, ask them if they've seen the information.
Yeah.
Different things like that.
I'm just thinking I've met some people on the trail who are very elderly and probably are not involved in any of this. And
Yeah, they would get it in the mail, though. They would get all the information in the mail. But you're more than welcome to talk to them, stop and, talk to them and see whether they've gotten it and
how
what they
many
think.
people is that? Can you tell us that? I mean, is it?
How many people are not signed up for electronic voting? It's approximately 140. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, Diane.
So clarification, you have to send it by mail. It's a
Yeah.
requirement, but that doesn't, negate the possibility of a neighbor bringing a copy of it to a neighbor to have a conversation.
So you can go have a conversation with a resident about it, but you cannot deliver their voting material, is what I was saying.
Right, no, but you can give a talking sheet, you can give information, you can have a conversation.
The information that we're sending out, yes,
Right.
and that's on the website, you're more than welcome to hand that out to whoever you'd like.
We're also going to mail out information too. It's not going to be just electronic. So we're working on a document that's going to go out to all the registered mailing addresses, the same that they would receive their ballot, and that'll go out early next week. So it'll probably get there around the same time as their. Yeah, and that'll go out to all residents,
All
not just.
homeowners. So, and we're looking for volunteers to help stuff those envelopes.
When?
Early
Probably-
next week.
Yeah, early next
So like
week.
Monday or Tuesday is when we want to get those in the mail.
Yeah. My wife said she volunteered, right?
Oh,
See, you come to the meeting.
Where are you gonna sleep?
Do we have any other, oh, Mickey's got a question.
in the courtyard.
I hope this isn't inappropriate, but I've had several discussions with several volunteers in the community who are willing to prepare sheets of information and to knock on doors, if that's what it takes, to promote and support this change. So,
We will be sending out things in the US mail to residents. I'm getting a little bit of nods from board members. That would kind of be like soliciting, and I don't want to promote that, but like I said, you can nudge your neighbors.
correct,
Without,
that's
you
the
know,
intent, yes.
Well, some people feel that it is, Ed. We've had things like that before. I would err on the side of caution in that. You're more than welcome to talk to your neighbors. I mean, I'm not gonna tell you that, you can't talk to your next door neighbor or your neighbor. I mean, everybody has a neighbor, so talk to your neighbors around you, and definitely, I think the word will get out there.
It seems like a very perfect time to have a wine and cheese parade.
Is it at your house?
Certainly. Stop on by.
Also,
We've got wine and cheese and crackers.
Also, you have additional events, so you have things, the Finance Committee has meetings, the Empire Club, the Veterans Club, everybody has things going on. At each one of those, you can bring it up and just, give information on it so that everybody is aware. Anything where people are in it.
And I was given the impression that this voting could be extended if we don't have enough penetration. So the drop dead date doesn't necessarily have to be.
Well, we're shooting for September 23rd,
I understand.
and we'll see how it goes closer to the date.
Okay. And everybody's active here. You all have clubs and committees and all that stuff. I encourage you to speak to your fellow people that you do stuff with, whether it's Zumba or cards or whatever y'all do. Talk to the people that you're with and bring it up, because that will, I think, do more than just getting something in the mail, because 90% of what I get in the mail is junk from people that used to live in my house years ago that I've never seen, so. No, they can't.
And again, anybody that wants me to check your information, I have it up here, so please stop by, and if there's no other questions, I think we can wrap this up. Thank you, everybody, for coming.